Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings, warriors. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm your host, the X-Man. You're listening to Breaking Out of the Matrix program. Tonight, April 14th, Sunday, 2013. Well, 3 months in to the new year. It's an interesting year so far, you know. A lot of global events happening on a massive scale. A lot of continued laws and bills being passed to accelerate bringing things into place. What kind of things? Well, potentially dangerous things, potentially emasculating to our liberties and freedoms we have as citizen slaves. What do you mean by that, X-Man? You know, it's interesting. I listened to a message today by Chuck Baldwin called Christian Idolatry, and basically it talked about the worship of government. Saying goes, don't bite the hand that feeds. Well, what if that hand is oppressing you? What if that hand is out to destroy you, to steal away your rights, not as a citizen of the United States, but rights that were granted you by your Creator, by Almighty God. The rights by God to pursue life, liberty, happiness, i.e. the calling, if you would, your destiny. Well, Caleb, I don't know if I believe in destiny. Well, that's fine. You know, maybe not everybody does. I believe every human being is born with a calling, born with a purpose to accomplish and fulfill on this short, limited journey that we call life here on planet Earth. And, you know, it's pretty dang short when you look at it in light of eternity. I mean, think about it, man. If you're granted the right to live a full life, you know, I mean, 70, 80 years or so, it's not a lot of time. For those of you aging quickly like myself, as the wise Solomon said, childhood and youth are vanity. You know, you come to realize as you get older that things that you thought were important when you were younger aren't quite that important as you get older, and you start to focus in on what's important. And, you know, this year for me, you know, even the past couple years, a lot of family members, a lot of friends, hearing about sickness, disease, tragedies, premature death. Well, yeah, that's all over the world. I realize that, but you understand that when it's somebody you know or you're close to, it hits home a little more. You know, and relatives and people dying before they're 50 or 60 years old. Man, that sucks. That sucks. To not even have a half a century to utilize this precious gift of life. Man, life is a gift. I know there's pain. I know there's suffering. I know the world's in dire straits. There's a bunch of crap going on out there, and that's what we're here to talk about. You know, that's the reason for this program. Breaking Out of the Matrix and the Breaking Out of the Matrix website. That's www.matrixbreakout.com. You know, if you're somebody that tends to embrace and attach yourself to fear, then this program may not be for you. The website's definitely not for you. I want to articulate that the website was created specifically, okay, do you understand? Specifically as an educational and informational website. There's been a lot of years of research, a lot of due diligence put into this. I have spent years and years, weeks, months, days, and hours filtering through information, watching documentaries, doing the research, studying history to kind of filter through some of this stuff for you. This is not a conspiracy theory program, okay? This is not a conspiracy theories broadcast, okay? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not an activist. I'm a seeker of the truth. I'm a lover of the truth. I am a man who longs and lives for justice because I look at the world and I see the amount of injustice going on out there, and frankly, it makes me sick to my stomach. I am so disgusted at the abuse, at the violation of the rights of human beings. Not legal rights. I'm talking about human rights. Violation of people's, their lives, their morality, their sexuality, from rape to abuse to abortion and every other controversial topic that you don't like to discuss and you don't like to talk about. That's what this program's about. And some of you know that I'm a believer, that I'm an ordained minister. Let me clarify to you tonight that I am not a government-bought or owned corporate entity. I am not a 501c3 nonprofit government-owned corporation. Okay, so I can talk about what I desire to talk about, what I feel led to talk about, what I'm called to talk about. No holds barred. Okay. If you don't know about the dangers of 501c3 incorporation, and you're a nonprofit or whatever, especially if you're a church pastor or leader, I'm really talking to you here tonight. You need to do a little research. You need to do your homework. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to condemn you. I just want you to open your eyes and open your heart a little bit and do some research. Hushmoney.org, great website. You can really find out about the inception of the 501c3, which was really integrated in the Lyndon B. Johnson administration in the 60s to specifically silence and emasculate the church, believers, Christians, whatever you want to call, from having a voice in politics, in economics. And by golly, they've been darn well successful in doing just that. And part of the reason that we're in dire straits, that we're in the state that we're in, that the morality of human beings, not to mention the world or the church, is in such a disintegrated state, is because of that. This whole mentality of separation of church and state, in my personal opinion, so you can't get too offended with me, is pretty bogus. And I think that came by way of the inception of the 501c3 through the Johnson administration, and that separation is again, it's what silenced and emasculated the church from having a voice in society, from having a voice of morality. Okay, because the church is supposed to be the moral standard. Okay, God's word, the Bible, is supposed to be the standard of morality in a society, in a nation of free thinkers. We have supposedly, according to the Constitution, these rights of freedom of speech, which, are exercised by some, and some take it to the extreme and get persecuted get sued, get jailed, and imprisoned for exercising those rights, and others because of the fear, because of fear of retaliation, fear of persecution, fear of imprisonment, whatever else. They're afraid to say anything. So we don't. We just sit down and we shut up and we do nothing and we hope all the bad stuff will go away. And newsflash, it won't. It won't. Ignoring the problem does not make it cease to exist. And that is the problem with the church today, is we hope that, okay, we just ignore the issues at hand. We just let the politicians, the corrupt, evil, immoral politicians, handle politics, and we'll just sit back and pray. Okay, well, I'm all for prayer, but agape, according to the Bible, is love in action. So if we love and we care about the state of our society, about the state of our church, about the morality of the family unit, about the sanctity of marriage, and I believe personally that incorporates one man and one woman being united in marriage under God. If we care about those things and we love people enough, then we would be taking action. Agape is the Greek word used in the Bible. It means love in action. So that's my big beef tonight, is that as a body of believers, as a church, there's been so much talk and so little action, and now there's hardly any talk anymore. We just shrink back, if you will, into this, to our little comfortable, cozy corner of the pew, of our comfortable seat, and we go play church games every Sunday morning, because we want to feel good, our feel good sermon to get us through to next week, to kind of desensitize our own selves in a way from the reality of the state that the world is in now. Not that we haven't already been desensitized completely through mass media, indoctrination, through mainstream news networks, through these candy, sugar-coated televangelist preachers with their little motivational messages that are New Age oriented. You know what? It's garbage. It's crap. I loved it today. Again, go to chuckbaldwinlive.com, and I think it was April 7th. It was a week ago. The sermon he preached about Christian idolatry and the worship of government. He named a few names, a few of your mainstream leaders. Well, thank God. Thank God the man is not afraid to speak the truth and name. Well, you shouldn't name names, Brother Caleb. Well, that's not biblical. Call a spade a spade. Call it for what it is. These people are preaching false doctrine, deceptive errors. God said in 2 Thessalonians that he himself would give them over to strong delusion, that they would believe a lie because they love not the truth. Okay? So don't think you're going to get some booming voice from heaven if you're on the wrong path saying, "Hey, don't go down there, little sheeple." That's no. You want to believe something that's not the truth. You want to believe a lie because it feels good, because it's comfortable. Then God's going to step back and go, "Hey, believe the lie." Whatever. That's fine. So anyway, as I was saying, Chuck on his broadcast was naming some names of some mainstream Christian leaders. Friend, there's a couple different kinds of fear. And the fear we all commonly know is it's an unholy fear. It's a dangerous fear. It's a deadly fear. And it silences us and emasculates us. And it weakens us. We should not be afraid of these things that are coming upon the earth. Oh my God, we're on the brink of nuclear war with North Korea and biological warfare and airborne viruses. Yeah, I'm with chemtrails. Yeah, I'm aware. I understand there's a whole plethora of garbage out there killing and destroying human beings, body, soul, and spirit, and it's not getting any better. But I'm not going to shrink back and live in fear. I refuse to live my life that way. And, we need to be educated. We need to be informed. We need to be aware of what's going on. And if you're afraid you're not going to be able to handle anything, I know you can't sit around and watch the news because it's so discouraging. It's so demoralizing. But at the same time, we can't be ignorant of these diabolical devices that are taking place on a global scale around us. And, I've dedicated much of my time to understanding how the world really works behind the scenes, and how these huge government entities and corporations are indoctrinating, are mass indoctrinating the world around us and desensitizing society through misinformation, misinforming us with information, as well as disinformation, absolute, blatant, twisted and manipulated information to get the public to believe a lie, to get the public to believe a story that is very far from the truth. And because of the power of technology today, because of the media, it's very easy to distort the truth. And thank God for, these journalists out there that are flying around and going to these different nations and putting themselves in harm's way to get the real story. Not what mainstream media is telling you, my friend, because if you did a little research, if you did a little homework, you would find out that mainstream media corporations are owned by the same entities, the same individuals, and they're very strict in what information is presented to the public because they want to indoctrinate you to an ideal, to a specific way of thinking. They are fear-mongering, okay? They want individuals and society in a state of abject fear. They want you to fear your government. Friends, government was created to serve the people, not to enslave them. Do you hear me? Government was created in its initial God-given right and authority to serve the people, to serve its citizen. And when it's not doing that, it is in direct violation of Romans chapter 13. And you can sit there and lift that scripture out of context all day long if you want. It won't work with me. God did not intend for you to blindly submit to oppressive, tyrannical rule and authority. He specifically said in his word, come out from among her, my people, be clean, be separate, separate yourself. And all throughout history, you can see it in the Bible. You can see it in American history as well as worldwide history. Revolutions and things that took place because people said, no, we will not live under fear, oppression, and tyranny. You can look at the Israelites way back in history. They were oppressed by Egypt. They were under the slavery and cruel torture of Pharaoh. They were work slaves, working them into the ground, killing them. And there came a man of a different spirit who loved God. And he was given favor, and he got a little visitation by a burning, fiery bush in the wilderness. And God basically said, I've called you to be a deliverer to my people. And Moses, probably somewhat hesitantly at first, answered the call and went to Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, it's time to let my people go. Let my people go. You've enslaved them, you've demoralized them, you've oppressed them, you've abused them, and now it's time to come out from among her. And as the Bible said, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, God performed all kinds of miracles, sent locusts, sent plagues, sent frogs, and Pharaoh was so arrogant, so prideful, he would not let the Israelites go. He would not obey God's will to release those people. And finally it came down to it. The plague was sent in. The spirit of death killed the firstborn child of every Egyptian, including Pharaoh's. At that point he broke and released the Israelites. Now we know that that wasn't the end of it. His heart was hardened again, and he tried to chase them right out of Egypt and pursued them to the Red Sea. God opened up the Red Sea. Israelites went through on dry land. Pharaoh tried to get through, and the waters closed in on them. That was the end of that story. So what's your point in saying all of this, Caleb? Well, all throughout history, we can see that God's will and God's desire is for us to walk in freedom and liberty as human beings, not only as citizens of a nation or of a country, but specifically as human beings. God's given us an inalienable right to be free, to walk in liberty, in truth, in justice, and love, and to do what's right. You know, the most amazing attribute that our Creator has given us as human beings is free will moral agency. What is that? It's absolute free will of choice. To choose what? Everything. To choose whether we believe in God, to choose whether we don't believe in God. To choose whether we'll obey and follow Him, to choose whether we won't. To choose whether we'll be evil and be an agent of darkness and oppression and tyranny. Or be someone like Moses or Joseph, to be a voice of truth, to be a deliverer, to be one who goes in to set the captives free. Friends, there's so much injustice in the world today. It's perplexing at times. There's so much injustice in the American legal system. There's just so much justice in the world, and it's the strong oppressing the weak, and the rich oppressing the poor. And I can tell you that it is a stench in the nostrils of Almighty God. God's not happy about it. He doesn't like it, but human beings are His agents in the earth. If you will, we're His hands, we're His feet, to implement good in the earth, to implement justice and truth and righteousness. And, this is good. It's kind of an introduction, again, to the program for those of you who are new and everything. There was some other content I wanted to get into, which we'll have to wait for a later time. But this is good. I want to give you an overall scope of things. And, again, that's what this program is for. We're going to cover a lot of material. We're going to help to educate you and give you an overall perspective on how this world is ran and operated from behind the scenes, on a financial, on an economic scale, on a political, on a governmental scale, and what is the role and what is happening currently in the church, in the various forms of religion and society, to open your eyes to the bigger picture. And what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is eternity. Eternity is forever. And you may not agree, you may not believe what I believe, but I believe that human beings are an eternal. We have an eternal spirit that lives on forever. And at the end of the course of our lives, when we die, our spirit goes on to a good place, to a better place with our Creator, or to a very detrimental, evil, and tormenting place. That wasn't created for human beings. It was created for the evil adversary of humanity, Lucifer, the fallen angel, i.e. Satan, whatever you want to call him. Friends, there's a battle going on. And whether or not you want to admit it, whether or not you like it, we are all engaged in a diabolical war of evil trying to oppress good. There's always been a battle. There's always been an eternal war going on between light and darkness, between good and evil. And I ultimately believe that good is going to prevail in the end. But as we're getting closer to the culmination of all things, yes, the darkness is getting darker, and the evil is getting worse, which actually, in all reality, is great because it gives an opportunity for the light to shine brighter. So my exhortation to you tonight, if you're listening to this broadcast, again, thanks for tuning in. This is the Breaking Out of the Matrix program. I'm your host, Caleb Kid Coy, the X-Man. My heart's desire for you tonight is that you break out of this illusionary matrix that we've been wrapped in, this bubble to make you act and think a certain way. Friends, nothing is what it appears. There's always a bigger picture. There's always a bigger scope. There's always a true reality that's often hidden in plain sight for those that have eyes to see and for those that have ears to hear. So, I appreciate it if you share the program, if you talk about these things. More than anything, I want you to go do some research of your own. I want you to do your own homework. I don't want you just to believe what I'm telling you. Again, the website, matrixbreakout.com, is an informational and educational website. Go in there, dig into it, and come to your own conclusion, okay? But just the messenger there, providing you with information, providing you with an opportunity to dig into the truth, to find the reality for yourself and come to your own conclusion. I'm not here to force an opinion on you or anybody, okay? I just want you to be a diligent seeker of the truth. I want you to be somebody who loves the truth. And if you're tired of what you see going on in the world, if you know that something is just not right and that we're not getting the whole truth from mainstream media, and then government and politicians and bankers are not telling us exactly how it is, well, then you're in the right place. Don't fall into that crap of being labeled as another conspiracy theorist. That term was created so that people would not retain the ability to be free thinkers. Okay? Society has lost its ability to think for itself. We are so mesmerized by Hollywood movies and television programs and brainwashed that we do sit around like zombies half the time, and we just buy into all this crap that's out there. Friends, don't be like that. Okay? Get away from some of that stuff. Separate yourself. Pick up a book. Educate yourself. Get on the website. Watch some educational and informational documentaries that will edify you and not bring you down and not discourage you. There's enough garbage out there. We need to start feeding our spirits and our souls with something good, with something edifying, with something positive. So again, that's my heart's cry for you tonight, is that you seek out the truth, that you find the reality, that you find the truth of what's going on, and that you be somebody who is informed, who's educated, who's up to speed, so that you can join with me as a fellow warrior of truth in educating people and getting people informed and waking people up to break out of this illusionary fantasy world and the matrix. Friends, there's much more to life than drug, sex, rock and roll, feeling good, than the all-American illusionary dream, having a nice home, having a nice car. Things are changing, my friends, and the world in a very short time is going to be a very different place. And we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to shrink back. But in this hour, we can be a people who are bold and strong and courageous, will rise up and be a voice of truth to society, to the nation, to the government, to the politicians, and to the world in this hour. So that's my prayer for you. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in to the Breaking Out of the Matrix program. Feel free to share this with friends and family. Check out the program, and we'll see you next time. God bless.